Hey guys, Russell here again with another how-to video. Thanks for joining me. In this video, I want to experiment with those alarms and those beeps and bongs and whistles and all of those sounds that annoy us when we're driving and check whether or not we can actually turn them off for good. So let's get into it. All right, so I'm going to go into the settings. We'll make that full screen. And over here, we're going to look at the driver assistance. Now in that menu or category, we have some sub-menus or subcategories, and one of those is driving, where we can activate our lane centering control and auto lane change, which we need for our cruise control and for our lane centering. And we've got some parking options as well here. But in terms of all of the bells and whistles, we need to be in the active safety subcategory here. And what you'll see are a whole series of different warnings, I suppose, that can be given. So forward collision warning and obstacle avoidance assistance and so on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn everything I can to the off position. Now I'll get these warnings to say, hey, look, are you sure you want to do that? It's really not a good idea, but of course I'm going to do it anyway. Lane departure assist has been disabled. I'm going to disable the emergency lane keeping assist so I don't get a warning and a correction. We're going to get rid of the blind spot detection, the door opening warning, rear collision, cross traffic alert, rear collision prevention. All of these things, look, they're mostly safety related, so a lot of them are probably good to keep on. But let's just do our experiment. We'll turn everything off. Now this driver drowsiness attention warning, it will not let me turn that off. No matter what I do, I cannot turn this thing off. Okay, it can't be turned off until it's been triggered. So when we're driving along, if you were to yawn, for example, that would be detected and you would get a little pop-up square or pop-up box on the screen here. You could then turn it off. But until then, we can't actually turn this off. And I can assure you that this one will turn itself back on the next time we want to go driving. But let's go through some of the others. We've turned this off here. Now, all of these beeps and alarms and everything else, I've turned them all off for now. So let's have a look from the top and we'll just confirm that we've got everything turned off, everything that we can. The only one that we can't turn off until it's triggered is the driver drowsiness and attention warning. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get out, lock the car, walk around in circles for a couple of minutes, hop back in, and let's see which of these warnings and alarms and alerts turn themselves back on. Now I'm going to leave this second camera going so you can actually see what happens when I lock the vehicle, and I'll hop back in and we'll check which of these settings will automatically turn themselves back on. Now as we know, we can turn them all off again except for the driver drowsiness, but it'd be nice if some of these things would just stay off the way that we want them to. So let me get out of here and I'll be back in a flash. All right, I'm back. Let's have a look at what things changed. Interestingly, the screen has gone to dark mode for some reason. I'm not sure why. Maybe there's some clouds coming over. But let's go back and have a look. And it looks like, just scrolling back to the top, a lot of them stayed off. The forward warning collision came back on by default. So it looks as though I can't turn that off and leave it off permanently. However, the obstacle avoidance assistance during startup has left itself off. Lane departure, the lane departure assist remained disabled, but we can see the emergency lane keeping has gone from disabled back to acoustic warning and correct. So that one turns itself back on. Blind spot detection, door opening warning, rear collision warning, rear cross traffic alert, all of these things remained off. However, the reverse collision prevention has turned itself back on. If we have a little look at the little graphic here, we can see what that's all about. All right, so that came back on. The driver drowsiness, try and hold that still. Driver drowsiness and attention warning, of course, stayed on. The driver status monitor has turned itself back on. And the beeps and alarms and confirmation before the speed changes, this is all related to speed here. Those things have remained off. All right, so that's interesting. Some of those things will remain off. Others, you may have to turn them off each time you get into the vehicle. But I think some of these are probably important to keep on. And I mean, why wouldn't you leave on the forward collision warning? That's not the sort of alarm or warning that's going to beep every time you touch a white line when you're driving. It's not going to try and correct your position within the lane. These are really good safety options that probably should be left on. Now, this one is a little bit annoying for me. It turns itself back on whether you like it or not, and that's the emergency lane keeping. And if you're to drive on a centre line or maybe go over that centre line a little bit, it's going to give you that acoustic warning, and you'll feel the steering wheel make a small correction. So it's not overbearing, but it certainly lets you know that it wants you to move. So that's one that will come back on whether we like it or not. All right, well, I hope that's interesting, guys. Just a little experiment. Please feel free to leave some questions or comments below. And I hope this is helpful for you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.